Part 2
As-
starts now. In-depth analysis you don't get anywhere else but the BFL show. Brian, you're talking about your dilemma of having too many good players. Cry me a river.
Yeah, I know that's true. Yeah, no, but it really is. It's obviously having the advantage of that first, that second, that third round pick, that extra those that's you're bound to have a lot too many solid players. And trust me, I've been watching you guys critique my team, and I actually agree with a lot of it. The not like superstar level, like big time stud players that is going to get you 100 plus. You'll get that once in a while, like I did with Mixon last week, and like I could have had with Odell in the right matchup potentially. But it's like you don't have that, big time stud that's going to give you the big points each week. So yeah, it is really just about hoping that I start the right guys in the right matchups, and then I don't miss out on, a hot hand for a week or something like that. Because
the as a Will Fuller owner, the pick that you made that I was really like nervous about, that like I thought could have been like a league winning pick, was Brandon Cooks, but he hasn't been the guy you want him to be.
Yeah, no, that's
yeah. Yeah, I think you've got a good one. And get like, are you planning on like keeping Gibson and having him be like a franchise guy for you? I mean, because you have a lot of good keepers. So he's an awesome trade bait to you. So I mean, he has value, man.
Yeah, no, and I obviously I don't want to give away too much about what the trade plans are, but I think I have a lot. The one good thing about my team is I have so many great options with the depth. So if you make a deal, you don't want to obviously make a deal that's going to hurt you potentially in a playoff situation down the road, but you could make deals for potentially adding a pick or something later on, like in a draft, by just trading away a player that you basically haven't been using. Like Kenyon Drake right now literally has been a bust. He has not done what I was hoping he would do. That's why he's probably going to, even though he's got a good matchup against the Jets and might kill me against the Jets this week, I probably won't start him this week because he just hasn't delivered. And I'm not going to start him over Kareem Hunt. And and I don't know, and probably even over James Conner at this point, or Mixon. It's just he hasn't produced at any level, and so I'm not saying I'm going to trade him, but I'm just saying you could potentially make a deal for a player like that who's valuable, and get a decent pick, or a different player. I'm not necessarily saying that, but I have wide ranging. I could do a lot of different things, but and it depends obviously if I'm winning. But so I like my team. But in Antonio Gibson, definitely, I think I don't know about James Conner long term, because you just don't know from year to year with James Conner's injury situations and everything like that. So and I value running backs. Yeah, obviously we all do. So it's like, having the two wide receivers, Beckham is just iffy. Once in a while he does these big things, but it's just not consistent. And so I look at Gibson for sure long term.
I think the parallels on our teams are interesting because we already said the Will Fuller and the Brandon Cooks teammates. And then I thought I had you week 1 when Connor went down, and I had his teammate Benny Snell. We both have the elite tight ends on our team. Andrews has kind of Andrews kind of disappeared for a couple weeks, but I think they'll click. He's awesome. I own him in a couple of other leagues, and so I just think that's kind of neat that we have kind of teammates that are kind of battling for positions, and your side is better on the running back side, and right now Fuller is better than Cooks on the receiving side, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I think every year I try to slide one trade offer into you for Tremaine Edmonds too. And that usually gets knocked away. Sorry, that just means our other video loaded. I'll get back to our screen. Mike, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, for you, John, I think it starts and ends with Kyler and Kittle. You really need those guys to perform. For like, I was looking at your running back situation this week. It's not ideal. I was wondering, like, you almost like want to take a chance on Tony Pollard, but I mean, Zeke can barely even get touches, and we know how Mike McCarthy will find a guy that obviously has talent but not get him the ball. Aaron Jones, you know what I mean, and just like obviously underutilize a guy. I think it's really cool how Brian has Breeze and Herbert playing against each other in real life this week. He's got the now versus the future. You know, can we see a passing of the torch type game here? And yeah, I did highlight Kenyon Drake because he's one of those guys where a lot of people were high on him. He was going like mid to late first round in almost all fantasy drafts. And he's just like trending down, but very good matchup against the Jets. But my late round pick, who was actually not the guy I was targeting there, but I ended up taking Chase Edmonds, who's like the receiving backup for Kenyon Drake, is actually starting to get more touches. And I'm like, well, this kid, because my running back situation is fluid. I don't have like the outside of Derrick Henry, it's like going to be a guessing game for number 2 the rest of the way. Obviously, Mike Davis isn't going to start the rest of the year. Jerick McKinnon's not going to get as many touches with Mostert back. So, you know, hey, maybe Chase Edmonds I can plug and play once in a while. And I like your team too. And not only – like sometimes when you have depth, it's like, oh, good, you know, I could withstand these injuries, but your team's healthy. You know, sometimes injuries make it easy to make the call, and you can't go, crap, you know, shoot, Odell scored 3 touchdowns this week. Why didn't I play him? I mean, you know, it's one of those things. Obviously, Odell hasn't had a blow-up game like that in a long time. You know, and they got him the ball in every which way. So if they're going to keep doing that, then you have to start him. If they're going to wide receiver reverse pass and then give it to him on an end around, then obviously you get him the ball. Yeah, that's one thing I skipped over because we were going quick with Ryan's team too. It was, have you noticed the way that the 49ers are using their rookie wide receiver Brandon Ayuk in the running game? He's come back and he's got 2 rushing touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. The 49ers, they just run the ball every which way, and it works all the time. So I thought that was really cool. That was a nice pick for Ryan for a keeper potentially. So that's all. I really did not know who to give the favorite to, and not because both of you guys are here. I really did not know where this matchup was going this week. I guess, gun to my head, I would go with Brian.
Yeah, I'd feel better about my chances if Chicago and Tampa were playing on Sunday, just to give Evans a little more time to heal up. But
yeah,
dude, I was watching him play on like after he got his injury. He's on one leg. Go back and watch those highlights. He's hobbling around the field and then still like mossing people. It was really impressive. So hopefully they get the ball inside the 5 against the Bears again, so they can do that. But he's not getting downfield to make plays, man. There's just too much. Yeah, and then McLaurin's questionable again. I'm too nervous about my health right now. Not as definitely going towards Brian. Once again, he's going to have a high score on Monday Night Football, and I'm just going to be in agony. So if you want to find me in pain, text me Monday nights. And he's got a Sunday night or two. He's got Tyler Lockett on Sunday night. I hate fantasy football. Dang it.
Well, I actually, like, sometimes if I'm, like, between 2 guys, if one of those guys plays a night game, I usually play that guy because
oh, yeah,
I like
100%.
to watch it.
I talked about that last week, how I was screwed up. Thursday night screws me every time.
Well, I was looking at Brian's bench for, like, guys that play. I'm like, oh, he could play Herbert. I was like, oh, wait, no, Breeze is already playing. Never mind.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, so now we got a minute here. Brian, so how do you consume? Like, what do you watch the games on Sunday, or like what's your game day ritual?
Yeah. Like, so this last week, obviously I always prioritize the Bears game. It's painful to watch the Bears game, but you know, it's your first love. And so, you know, I've always said, I always try to keep the perspective. As much as I love fantasy, I always want to see the Bears win over fantasy for the most part. But, you know, and watching the Bears offense is cringeworthy consistently. But, you know, this week, obviously, Red Zone. Obviously, I just watched Red Zone because they moved it to 3. So I was able to watch Red Zone and then and kind of follow along. And trust me, like you can ask my wife, watching Odell Beckham score consistently, and I had to like walk the dog because I was so frustrated watching Odell Beckham kill me. Luckily, Joe Mixon, like I came back in, then like I had like 3 touchdowns within like the next few like minute or so when I came back in. So I felt like I started to calm down, like because Andrew's got like 2 or 3 touchdowns this last week, and then or I think just 2, and then Mixon had that huge blow up game against Jacksonville, and so that calmed me down. I don't ever really worry about like if Beckham has those big games, but like I want Tyler Lockett to get you at least 50, 60 points, or we have DJ Moore in there, whatever. Give me production. Like I'm not looking for the 100 points necessarily. As long as you produce for me and help me win, I can be calm and sane about losing the 100 points. But they only got like 16 points and so, like 18 points. That's gonna make me that frustrating me. But yeah, no, it's usually red zone. Like I'll be watching red zone this week again, of course, because Bears are on Thursday. So that's as much as I can watch red zone, that's pretty much what I do.
And the Packers are off, so it's a red zone weekend.
100%.
100%.
That reverse to Beckham was freaking awesome though. I had him going in another league, and like when he did that, I like text the league and I was like F the Cowboys and F your team, the guy I was playing against, because I was like just pumped after he broke that long run.
And then I was playing against Jarvis Landry, and so Jarvis Landry's throwing a touchdown pass to Odell Beckham, who sat on the bench. So it's like
that was a dime.
Yeah, it was like that was a double killer, but yeah.
Since we got a couple extra minutes, I did pop culture references for the last week's matchups. You guys want to hear them?
Sure.
All right. Okay, for yours and Ryan's matchup, John, I went to the old school show, and which was they redid a movie with Steve Carell called Get Smart, and he has a famous line where he says, "Missed it by that much," which is of course in reference to the 1.4 points of margin of victory there.
I'm still waiting for stat corrections to reverse that. So like I'm just like holding my breath.
For Dom's and Drew's matchup that was projected to be so high scoring, I went back to the Saturday Night Live recurring sketch of Lowered Expectations. I don't know if you guys remember that at all.
I know that.
It was like a dating show where they had just like really like low quality candidates. For Phil's matchup, I referenced Carson as the Terminator. I said I'll be back because Chris Carson he's just not going to be denied apparently. For Ben's matchup, I went with a 90s hip hop classic, Whoop There It Is, because tag team back again, he had Dak Prescott and Dalvin Cook score half his points. So he had 2 guys score over 200, and he scored about 400, and that was enough. So, and then for your matchup, Brian, I quoted Eminem, and I said, "It feels so empty without me," and that was in reference to OBJ's 116 on the bench. So that's where I went there. And then for my own matchup, one of my guilty pleasure comedy movies is a Chris Tucker and Charlie Sheen movie called Money Talks. And at one point, Chris Tucker gives a speech, and he just basically quotes Barry White, and everybody's giving him props. And he says, "I just try to do what I can do when I can do it," because that's pretty. My team is just like everybody that scored. When Jerick McKinnon scored late Sunday night, I was over the moon. I was like, that was the deal sealer right there. So that's what I came up with.
Awesome.
Maybe I'll try it again next week.
Yeah, we gotta keep that rolling.
All
right.
Thanks, Brian.
No, this was awesome, man. We gotta do this again.
All right. Thanks, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys having me on for sure.
Anytime. All right. Should we wrap this up? We'll see you guys later.
All right.
All right. Bye, guys.
Good luck, guys. Stay healthy.
Stopping share. Ending meeting. Bye. All right. Later.